All right, guys, we are back for part 3 with Dan Infalt here, the Big Buck serial killer. If you guys haven't been following along here, if you're watching this later on, we're on part 3 here. Check back to parts 1 and 2 here that we've been kind of plugging away since 5 o'clock this afternoon or this evening. Dan's been gracious enough to spend some extra time with us. And before we broke, after part 2, we just started talking a little bit about
the beast gear.
And Dan brought along his tree stand here. I guess before we bring it up, why don't you just give us a little backstory on how that all came about? What made you decide to make your own tree stand?
Well, I've got a strong background in R&D. I run an R&D area for a major company, and what I do is I invent products and help invent products with a team of engineers for a living. Been doing that for many, many years, and in a machine shop environment. And so I look at things and fix problems and issues with them and rebuild them and build new products for a living. So I've always looked at tree stands as, I could build a better mousetrap. And I worked with Lone Wolf for quite a while, and I always thought, well, I could make one half that weight, and have a better stand and fix all the issues I didn't like about that stand.
Right. Sure.
Not that, I liked a lot of that stand, but I thought it could be built better. And so I started a patent on making a platform out of an extruded plate. And we're working on that right now. I mean, that's still going through. But we got, the stand down to 6.9 pounds. And, anytime you...
That's incredible.
Anytime you make a light stand like that, somebody will make one lighter.
Right.
Just because they can.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, there's a balance. You start getting, lighter, you're either taking away from platform or you're making it below standards for safety.
Yep.
I got it at the perfect mix. And,
And I couldn't believe how light this is. One finger, I'm weak in my left arm, just nerve damage. And this thing, honestly, it feels like it's made out of plastic.
the box we ship it in is heavier.
Yeah, and this is just amazing. I don't know. My jaw hit the floor and it's still doing it. At how light it is, it's
It
amazing.
feels about 6.9 pounds. Here, I'll bring it over here by you here, Dan, and you can
Show the features.
Yeah, we
kind of got a
Yeah,
yeah, I'm kind of cramped up
finagle
here,
around here.
you're still in camera there, right? Yep.
Yep.
but you hear that?
No.
It doesn't make any noise. We got, a special material out of the washers that we use, so that they're dead silent and they're lubed
Yep.
and tight. So it's a push fit, and the seat's the same. It's a push.
So it's not going to clank as I'm walking in the woods?
Right.
Yeah, that
Then we've got an antler bracket that I designed that you can put it on angled trees up to about 10 degrees.
Oh,
And you cam lock it in. So you, when you sit on the seat, you lift the bottom platform with your heel, and the whole thing will slide down a little bit. And when you push it back out, it'll lock to the tree. And in a lot of cases, you can take the strap off, and it'll stay on the tree. It's locked in so tight.
wow.
so now can you adjust for level as well? Is that what
Correct.
I'm seeing?
Yep, right here.
All right.
And that's key, especially for a lot of the trees that I've seen you hunt in.
I've seen some of the newer stuff that's coming out that doesn't have a leveling pad either, like this. So that's made out of that same material, so it's silently, when you sit on it, it's not making noise.
Sure.
Oh, leveler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up there too.
I've seen it in some of the newer stuff. It's just metal on metal,
Yeah.
but
Now we were talking a little bit before, like you designed this for you.
Correct.
With you in mind, like the way you hunt,
I wasn't even going to market this.
you were just going to
When
make your own.
when I first built it, I was just kind of like, I want this stand for me, and none of the manufacturers out there that I approached wanted to build it. So I thought, well, I'm just going to make one for me, and I'm going to have this for me. Now I'm going to make a set of sticks and a stand.
Yep.
And I didn't care if it cost me $1,000 or what it cost to build it myself. I just like doing stuff like that.
But you're spending a lifetime in it too. I mean, literally.
Correct.
So,
but in the build with this, I was co-working with Mario.
Yep.
And Mario had a lot of input in this too. And he was urging me to consider letting other people have the opportunity to hunt out of it. So that's where it came around to selling it to people. And it's kind of funny because people really treat you with disrespect online. When I'm really not trying to make a killing off this or anything. I'm just trying to make it available to people, and then they, they're asses. Plain and simple. But that's the real thing is I just want people to be able to use it if they want to.
Right.
You don't have like that big marketing campaign for it or anything like that.
No.
Right.
Word of mouth, and I think you'll do just fine.
The way it's selling right now, I mean, we'll probably be doing this for a living pretty soon.
Yep.
But really, I already had a job. It's not about making money.
Right.
I'm already living as comfortable as I want to live.
Sure.
So this is really about, going into building this for the people that want it.
Sure.
And Mario sold me on that. I was just going to build one for me and one for him and make everybody jealous when they saw us in videos.
So how many, you started off with the idea, how many different, I don't want to say variations, but, you got it. Well, this ain't right. Fine-tuning moments did you have, I guess?
Well, I guess the first one I built was a little overbuilt. And I don't think anybody wanted to pay $1,000 for it. Where we cut pockets, and machined in footprints of deer and right through the platform and stuff. And,
Sure.
And then it morphed into, well, how can we do this where we could make it cost effective so people could afford it? Because the machining process of machining each one of these individually is very expensive.
Yeah.
So we got the price down to what we could, as low as we could, so that people can get it.
Right.
And hopefully, we can bring it down lower when we start mass building them.
Sure.
But as for right now, we're about as low as we can go.
Yeah.
But we would be much higher if we went with the first design.
Right. And it's not for everybody. I mean,
it was hard for me to even let go of some of the stuff I had in there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's just amazing, honestly, how light that is. And then with the climbing sticks, with your beast sticks, the way they attach and the weight of those. You want to go through that, I guess?
Yeah, this is I think it's 1.7 or 1.8 pounds without the strap.
Right.
With the strap, it is right at about 2 pounds. Some of them we weigh them are slightly under, some slightly over. I'd say right at 2 pounds.
Right.
If you're using something like am steel or something, then it's well below 2 pounds.
Right.
But this is the 18-inch stick, which is really 20 inches. It's 18 from step to step.
Okay.
From one step to the other. Designing this antler bracket was kind of a unique thing.
Show it closer. Maybe that'll.
Okay. So
can you see that? There you go.
So that antler bracket, I literally went through computer models and stuff and looked at diameters of trees and figured out where the points would have to be to fit the type of trees that I hunt.
Right.
Based on and up to what other people hunt within reason, so that this would grip every tree.
Okay.
And we would design something and then go out and test those points in the field and try them on different trees and crooked trees and actually hunted on them for a year and in different variations. And then once I had those points down where they should be, then I made the cool antler shape out of it.
Which isn't that's the same antler shape that you use then in the logo too, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. As soon as we designed it, we put it into our logos and everything.
Yeah.
Which is more Mario's end of things. He was
you gotta have a guy
he was like
like
looking
that.
at that. He's like, that's your logo now.
Yeah.
I go, it is? He goes, yes, it is.
He's like, I usually like him to have a little bit longer tines.
Yeah. So one thing that really bothered me with other climbing sticks was the move.
I thought you were going to say Mario. Keep going. Other sticks.
Was the movable parts.
Yeah.
So I was using Lone Wolf sticks, which was the best ones at the time. And they weren't built really for mobile people. They were built to put on a tree and leave it there.
Sure.
But it was the best thing we had available to mobile people.
Sure.
So their steps.
Slide and lock.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they had a nylon washer behind it. And it had a lock nut. And then a rotating or V bracket. And because of that design, putting the torque on it and stuff would loosen that nut. And eventually it would get loose, and then you'd have to tighten it.
Yeah.
And once you tighten it about 3 times, it becomes permanently loose. It just keeps loosening.
Yeah.
Right? And then if it got too loose while you're using it, it would bend the bracket, bend the bolt, open up the hole, and then even if you bought new parts, it ain't going to work right. So it was a constantly fixing those things, especially if you use them to the degree I did of 90 hunts a year.
Right.
Well, then, you're going through the things, and not only that, but now they're going to be, they might fail on you on a hunt. I don't want them to fail.
Right.
So I want to take all the noise out and all the moving parts. So I made everything on here rigid and solid so it can't bend or give. So it's a buy of a lifetime.
Right.
So even the fit between this and the tube and this here is 5 thousandths. I mean, you go outside of that tolerance, we're throwing the part away. This is a lock fit so that nothing moves, nothing gives, nothing makes noise.
Wow.
We even extrude the tubes ourselves. We have them extruded for our own mold so they're the exact same size every time we get them.
So you're saying that's 1/8 to 2 with the strap. What are other climbing sticks weights? I really don't know.
I think like Lone Wolves are like 4 or 5 pounds. I don't really keep
Each?
tracked. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't really
geez.
keep tracked. I mean, the XOP ones are really heavy. They're cast. I mean,
Right. I
there are people, again, that when I said I'm making a 2-pound stick, well, I'll make one that's 1.9 or 1.8.
Good luck.
But they're jeopardy. Well, they can do it. I could have too.
Yeah.
But if I use those materials in hot weather or cold weather don't perform like aluminum, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want something that's going to bend or break when it gets hot out or cold.
Right.
You don't want it brittle in the cold and bending when it's hot. And you don't want stuff that's going to crack or something or give instantly, where aluminum won't like just snap.
Right.
Like say carbon fiber or something when it gets brittle and cold. Aluminum will bend and give, and you can feel it going. Now, they're rated for 300 pounds, and they could take more than that, so it would take quite a bit to make this bend. But if it was going to give, you'd feel it. You'd feel it going.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be on something that's just going to go. So anytime, what I did was I built the best one you could. Take away the weight. But where a lot of people get wrong is they fixate on one thing, like weight. I'm going to make this the lightest stick possible. You can make the lightest stick, but now you went away from the solid design. You went away from the the noise. You went You went away from the dependability in the hunt. Now, when that thing breaks in half when you're climbing a tree, is it worth it?
Right.
Yeah.
And one thing that was a benefit for me going into this is I said nobody has been selling these things, any kind of tree stands or climbing sticks, online. We don't need the stores. We can just run out and make this stuff and sell it. But now that's been a benefit for me, but it's been everybody else is doing it too. But now the downfall of that is they don't have to go through TMA. So a lot of these companies that are popping up
Right.
are just guys out of their garages building stuff, and there's nothing tested. You got to remember, I work in a facility that does all that testing and stuff, and I see stuff coming out, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, there's one stand, I won't name names, but I looked at it, I go, look at this stand. It's going to fail right here. It's going to snap right here. We're all in the room, and we're discussing whether we should warn them or not. And I'm like, they're not going to listen anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they all started snapping. And we're just like, I don't want to see anybody get killed.
Right.
In some, that is a dilemma with me, because part of me is like the conservative that believes everybody should have a choice to, and should be able to do everything else, without the government control.
Yep.
But part of me thinks, man, there should be a law forcing these people to do testing.
Yeah.
It's insane, the stuff that's getting sold. And people don't know the difference. They just look at this and the guy says, yeah, this is safe. It's rated for 300. And they don't know that guy's just making that number up. He didn't send it to the testing facility to get tested to that number.
Yeah. He put a 300-pound sandbag once. Yep, it's good.
Where I work at a place where we do testing.
Yeah.
You know, and not only did I do that, I didn't trust myself. I could be biased.
Right.
So I sent it to be tested by an outside facility. You know,
I don't remember, Scott, us getting any tree stands or steps for testing for an unbiased opinion. Do you?
You guys need to do some testing for me, huh?
Scott's in love with the one in his hand right now.
It's what's amazing about this is it's like I'm like this is such a solid piece of awesomeness.
It's a structure.
But yet it's so light. It's like it's incredible.
That's what I thought with the stand. You would think this is like plastic or space age material. You know what I mean? Not metal.
No, and you know, there's certain things that, you know, you see other stands and things out there, and it's like, man, I don't know, like how long is it going to last? How safe am I going to feel like this?
Yeah,
it is. I mean, I like the fact that there is absolutely you can't.
We can see where it locks right in there.
You can't budge anything on here. This is just, it's amazing. And then we were playing around with it earlier too. We got 1, 2, 3, 5 sticks on this thing, and it was like.
All right, so Dan, why didn't you show us how to stack them, how they stack on the stand?
Sure.
Throw it up here on the table, and
we'll
clank things around and
move
all this stuff out of the way here.
Well, I like how it locks. I mean,
it's really simple.
So when we did the Minnesota Challenge, Joe Rentmeester packed his deer out by having the seat up like this and using a bungee to hold it there. And a lot of people wanted us to do that. And
that's actually a pretty cool idea, Joe.
Right? So, but what we decided to design would be different. We had to find a way to pack in the sticks, so we wanted to beat that with both things. So we got the sticks, the width of the stand, stacked straight up. And they work as a shelf. So you could stack something right here, and it's pretty rigid.
Yeah.
You saw before. So you take your 4 sticks, and our sticks, too, stack in line, where other ones are stacking... Staggered, right.
Yep.
We made ours so that they stack in line. Right? So... Stealth Outdoors, too, if you want, makes... a size stealth strips to do your stand and these sticks. So you don't get any kind of metal on metal noise.
Do you need that other button or?
No, it's
on there.
It's on there.
So we go with the second hole in, and then we sell these in different sizes. So if a guy uses 4, he can buy one for 4.
Oh, sure.
One for 3. It also comes with a knob, which I got in my pocket. Because who doesn't have one in their pocket? That'll bolt these together, and it's real rigid. You could shake them and everything, and it won't make a sound when this is bolted together.
Yep.
With the female end on it. Or you can take that knob off and stick it through here and form that shelf. So we give a piece of stealth strip with it that you roll up that becomes the diameter of that hole.
Okay.
So that it's not making too much metal on metal noise.
Right.
So you just get that felt kind of rubbing against it, right? And then you just get it in that insert in there.
Sort of hard to do it on the table here.
Yeah, it's not like doing it in the field, right? But you just screw it in there, and we got these knobs are rubber coated. They're really nice knobs. We started out using the Delrin for those, the really high grade plastic, but I like the rubber coated larger knob better.
Probably a little better grip when you got gloves on and stuff too.
Yeah, like in winter, those little knobs were hard to deal with.
Right,
and you weren't getting it tightened enough. So once this is tight, it is pretty much rock solid on there.
So now you got a shelf for backpack, hopefully a deer.
Yeah. So for me, I don't take much with me, but my coat will go on there, my camera arm, that kind of stuff will go up there, and it's actually pretty slim.
Watch your head.
Yeah, swing around back this way here.
Our studio's small and Dan's too tall.
Yeah, you can barely fit in here.
Sorry, Dan.
So when I walk through the woods, that's all pretty much compact behind me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nothing's
You don't
catching
have
on
anything sticking out
Yeah.
off the
And then
sides.
it's low enough that when I duck under stuff, it goes under it. Where if
Right.
I have the sticks stacked straight up, like the
gonna
Lone
catch.
Wolf design,
Yep.
I was always getting them caught above
Yeah,
me.
going
Because
sticks and everything else. Yeah.
as you see by my stand, I'm using 5 sticks where most people use 4. I just like having that option of getting higher.
Sure.
Yeah.
So most of the time I'm hunting out of 3 or 4,
But you have the option.
but I have the option if I need it.
And like you said before, when you go in a lot of times, you may swap what you thought you were going to hunt in based on the sign. So
Most
always-
of the time I don't end up where I thought I was going to go.
right. So I mean,
But yeah, everything's going slim line right through the swamp. I mean, a lot of people are concerned that this stuff's going to catch on brush. We've field tested this for years. I mean, we've been hunting on, me and Mari have been hunting on this for years. As you can see, it's not catching on anything.
right.
I'm going through cattails. I'm going miles back.
Most of you aren't going where Dan's going anyways.
You can hear me when I'm not on the mic.
Huh. I think, hope my girlfriend's not watching because I think there's going to be a purchase in the near future. So,
Yeah, the thing is pretty incredible.
so that whole setup right there, what do you think weight wise?
Well, do the
What did you have? 5 of them on there?
yeah
So there's 10 pounds and the stand was 6.
6.9, so say 7.
So 17 pounds.
Yeah, and most people aren't using 5 sticks.
Right.
The,
So-
the most are using 4, and then after that, then there's 3, and then you start getting the 5s.
So let's say 4 sticks. How high are we getting up?
18, something like that.
Really? Okay.
It depends on how far you stretch them, but
Right. Short little fat guy like me, that'll get me up 8 feet.
He's gonna have them just touching each other. Like,
and an athletic young weasel like me, I get up 25. Right?
stretch it out, climbing up into the stand instead of stepping into it.
Wow.
We've seen most of us have seen your videos, and there's
Yeah.
some trees that I'm just like,
Yeah, I don't even, I've tried going in a lot of slimmer trees, and I don't even think with the straps I got on there that they'll go that short, because it's got like the double loop on it or whatever.
oh yeah,
They're touching. You can't even get it that tight.
There's a tree over by Dave's house that was dead, and it's this big around. And there was one limb on it for cover, and I had to cut it off because I couldn't shoot with it there. And I got up in that tree and sat there, 10 feet off the ground because Dave saw some bucks come out there, and it was the closest you could get to them. And I got up in that tree, and the bucks came out, and I decided not to shoot them. They weren't as big as he thought they were. They were like 120, 130 class, and it was opening weekend. So I passed them, but those deer literally walked right underneath me. And I was sitting there in that little tree, just up there sideways like this. They never saw me.
wow.
Anybody that go in that tree, they deserve to get a deer. That's what they were thinking.
Have you ever had a bad experience, like something go wrong,
Well, who
like in a
hasn't?
tree,
Yeah, lots of bad.
like with like? was
Oh,
it
you mean
because
it's been breaking or falling?
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I fell a lot when I was younger. I used to make a lot of like crappy stands and stuff and weld shop and stuff like that.
Conduit.
Yeah, I made a.
I made one out of conduit once.
I made a stand one time, a little square platform where I welded 2 pieces of angle iron on it so that the points would go, against the tree, so the channel. And I put a slot on each side of it and welded a chain in one side. This is back way back
Yeah.
in like the 80s,
Yeah.
And the chain would go into the other side. And I didn't have the background I have now, obviously, right? And I cut that slot too close up to the top of that angle, not knowing any better. And me and a buddy were going to go out and shoot squirrels like a couple days before deer season or something like that, and practice. And so we put out this pile of corn and got all these squirrels coming into it. And I put a stand up this tree, this pine tree way up, like 30 feet up. And he's up in his tree across from me, and we're going to take turns. And lo and behold, the first thing in is this little 10-pointer, and we're like, holy crap, look at that. And we're pointing at it and stuff, and I got way out in the stand, and I'm looking at this thing. No intention on killing it, obviously.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that stand just exploded off that tree. Back in those days, no harness, no nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm flying through the air thinking it's my last days, but luckily I was hitting the big limbs on that tree.
All the way down.
Yeah. I hit the ground so hard on my back, it knocked the wind out of me. I couldn't breathe. And I couldn't even move. And he was scrambling out of his tree, and he comes running halfway to me, then like runs halfway towards his van, and then halfway back to me like he's freaking out, not knowing what to do. And then he finally came over, and I was like, I'm okay. And I think I spent 3 days in bed. I had my whole back was like as black as your shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. If that happened to me now, I'd just die.
For sure.
Yeah, we don't spring back as well when you get a little older.
Yeah. We don't bounce as well.
All right, so some of the other stuff on Beast Gear. You have shirts. You have, what else? Can we pull it up? Oh, there. Look at the man on the buttons there. So can we go to the products? I can't see.
What would you like to see?
I can't read anything from this far. We got the stands. What else is
The
in there?
apparel, the apparel line.
Yeah, as of right now, it's the stands, the sticks, the shirts, hats,
Right.
the screw-in tubes or thread rods, and that's about it for now. I mean, we had a real high-grade coffee, and we're planning on bringing that back. But right now, we're just trying to put our focus into tree stands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that out and get it for the people, and then maybe start working on our next designs and stuff. I got a tree stand in the works that I'm really excited about that, again, is going to change the industry. But this time I'm not going to let the word out to anybody or ask anybody if they want to get involved.
Yeah.
And, you know,
That's
a good idea.
You know, if you need testers, you got 2, 3 right here. We'll be glad to test.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, I think you're falling in love with that stand.
I'll be getting one. I'm not going to lie. I will.
He might not let you leave with that one.
No, because, you know, where I go, weight is key, and my hips kill me when I'm hauling these heavy-ass stands. And I found myself, I can't keep doing that. 25 pounds, you know.
You know, think about this
30
once.
pounds.
People think that stand's expensive. Actually, it's pretty cheap because if you think about what a bow costs you and how long it lasts, what is a bow? It's a machined riser, machined the same way I'm machining the stand
Yeah.
with a couple cams and a string.
Right.
And the guys are paying over $1,000 for that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there's more into the stand. There really is. And the stand's going to last a lifetime.
Sure.
You know, a bow you're going to be replacing in 5-6 years.
Yep.
So it just seems expensive because the cheaper brands that are made
you're basing
overseas
it-
and stuff are
Sure.
cheaper.
Right.
But
What does your life depend on?
right,
Not the damn bow, what you're standing on.
right. I mean, it's not for everybody.
Right.
But if you're a mobile hunter, and especially like you said yourself, I mean, you got issues with your age and your hip and everything else, and then getting back.
I
here
said
and-
my hip, not my age, Dan.
No, and his weight.
I just
his weight.
I just kind of added that age thing.
And Drew added the weight.
Love y'all.
Keeps bringing up. He's like, so what's the max capacity on this thing again here?
Yeah, no, I mean, because, you know, you want to haul stuff out, and it becomes very cumbersome.
Well, and then
he
you
wants
kill-
me, hey, videotape. Well, I got this. I have this camera arm that weighs 20 pounds. I have this. And you wind up, I'm almost 50 pounds more. It's like, holy crap. Now go through a swamp. I do like hunting the swamps. I don't go that far in, but, you know, you're starting to sink down.
Well, you look at me. I mean, that's the product of that design. Is because I'm 54 years old and I'm going through swamps that are waist deep muck for miles,
But
and then
you
coming back out in the
You're
dark.
crazy enough to take your boots off and walk through. Now, what I've seen, was it that like frozen swamp, basically?
Kind of. It was thought enough that I needed to take my boots off to be quiet.
Yeah, see, I love deer hunting. Don't get me wrong, but there's certain limits a guy's got to set. I don't know if I could. I mean, bad frozen feet, I don't know. I think that it would just damp. I suppose once you get to the other side, you know, how long did you do that for?
I'm coming to the conclusion that I like suffering.
I love pain.
I kind of feel like I got to earn the deer.
Oh, you do. For
You're
the
still
stuff
trying
you
to
go
prove
through.
it to yourself after all of these years. So, yeah, I guess talking about the story about going across that kind of frozen marsh, do you want to You want to talk about that one? Like what for those that might have missed that video?
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, there's
Which
couple.
one were the one? Which was the one that you were?
There's quite a few of them. He takes off his boots and I think you had.
Well,
your
you had to do
socks
it
on.
too. I know you did it once.
In the Chasing the Dream one, I did it.
Yeah.
And the other one, I think I had shoes on, but I had tennis shoes and I crawled through icy water to shoot the biggest buck I ever shot. It kept bedding in the same spot over and over and over again. For a 2-year period, I was after that buck, and he would bed in this one spot. You couldn't get near him; it was all open. He'd bed over this bent over willow, and I actually even picked up his shed in that bed. That's the spring before, and I would sit back on this wood line and watch him get out of that bed and just glass him, waiting for a vulnerable point. Where can I kill this thing? Where can I kill this thing? And there was a dirt road that went past it that people would walk up and down constantly, and he would get to that road, and that's it. He wouldn't get beyond that road, and there was no trees or nothing, or it was just like knee-high grass. But there was in between his bed and that road, which was probably 100 yards, there was like a little patch of cattails. Mm-hmm. And he would only bed there on a west wind, but west winds were pretty common. So west, southwest, northwest, he'd be there.
Yeah.
But if you started getting an east wind or something, he'd be gone. And then on Thanksgiving Day, we had this big family thing planned. In the middle of the day, I was looking at the weather, and it was going to change. And I went out and decided if it's going to change in the middle of the day, he ain't going to take off because he'd have to go through all that open terrain. He's still going to be there. And I just told everybody I had to go.
I love you, but there's other things more important.
And, I remember my wife was pretty pissed off about that. I got out there, and it was gun season. Wisconsin,
Sure.
Thanksgiving is gun season.
Mm-hmm.
So I took my shotgun, and I used that little tiny patch of cattails that was 20 yards or so from his bed, and I used it for cover, and I got on my hands and knees and crawled through the water that was still frozen. It was like this thin 1/8 inch thick of ice, and I had to just slowly break it with my hands so it wouldn't make noise, and crawled through this water all the way to those cattails and got around to the edge of them, and I had my gun actually bungeed to my back. I use bungees for everything. I got that gun off my back, and then I got to the edge of that, and I just got to my knees, and then I stood up quick, and I was face to face at that thing at 20 yards, and I shot him right in his bed. And what's ironic about that is I never had the balls to do that with a bow, but it was bow range. And if I would have just did it, I probably would have got away with it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's next level. At least for me. might be a couple levels yet. I don't know. It's funny that you said that you did that on Thanksgiving and you kind of had to disrupt some plans and stuff. How hard is it for you to manage your hunt life and your personal life with friends and family and things like that? Like trying to prioritize.
Well, my wife has become accustomed to that's just me, and she's okay with it. That doesn't mean she's always happy about it, but she's okay with it.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, I let her do anything she wants to. I mean,
Sure.
She's got to live her life. I got to live mine, my way. But I do have some regrets from when I was younger. I mean, nowadays I'm a little more. She doesn't have to tell me to stay, and I'll stay for certain things. And certain things are more important than deer now. Mm-hmm. But they weren't when I was younger.
Right.
And that's we grow up a little, right? Or we kill enough deer that we think, well, we've done that already.
Sure.
But, I mean, they've been pretty supportive of me. I mean, my kids don't hate me, so I guess I'm doing okay, right?
Do your kids take up the sport with you?
James was a really good hunter, and I wish he would have stayed with it, but he's become more of the family man, maybe not wanting to make the mistakes I made, but he's only shot 3 deer in his life, and the smallest one I think is 120.
Wow.
So you shot some nice deer.
Yeah, he's done fairly well for himself, and he got to experience a little of the do-it-yourself kind of thing where I kind of threw him out there. I do think that maybe a little part of it is me being too hard on him. I mean, I pushed him like he was a man when he was 12. We'd go 3 miles back with he'd have a lone wolf and 5 sticks on his back and a camera arm and everything else.
Right.
And you could see it hurt him a little bit at his his size, but I would just say, hey, just go, man, you can do it. But you saw the glow when he had success and stuff. And
Yeah.
I remember when he shot his first bow buck, it was so cool because that was where I really let him just kind of on his own. Took him up to hill country and said there's been a nice 10-pointer coming down this field. He's coming off that point somewheres, and walked over there with him. And I said, well, look at the thermals, look at the wind. And he was like, I think right here. He's like 14. He went and set up his stand, pulled his bow up there and stuff, and I'll come back. He's waiting on the side of the road. I went and hunted a whole different area, left him in a place he's never been.
Yep.
It's kind of the test.
Yeah.
Ask Mario about those tests. But anywho, I come back to pick him up. He says, I got him. I says, you kidding me? He goes, no, I got him.
Wow.
And he self-filmed it, 14. Videotaped it and everything.
What's
Well,
your
that's a cat's
excuse?
ass.
It was a nice 10-pointer. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a pretty cool hunt. And, it was pretty sweet. He was also, his first buck, he got, we went out gun season, and we were going to set up in his bedding area. And when we got there, just as we were starting to set up, I mean, we're right up against the beds, like 40, 50 yards. We're trying to be super quiet. And every now and then you blow it. And if you're not getting close enough.
Right.
But we made a move or something, or made a sound, and a deer jumps up and hops out, but didn't know quite where we were. And it was a nice 8-pointer. And he swings the gun up and shoots it. And it barrel runs into the open field where there's 100 guys, and you just hear this barrage of gunfire. And we went over there, and there was people tracking it and stuff and fighting over it already. And we just turned around and went back. And I just said, sometimes you got to pick your battles, boy. Let them have it.
Yeah.
And you know how the law works. The last person to shoot at it's going to get it. Mm-hmm. And I think he gut shot it. So it was going to die, but not anytime soon.
Right.
So those guys were going to claim it. So he was a little upset about that. And we climbed up a tree, and I said, just be patient. Sure enough, another buck got out of the same bed and he come in and he shot it. And it was a real nice buck.
Yeah.
And he was happy as hell then. But the last buck he shot was kind of one of the coolest ones. It was, I had been bow hunting, and I knew there was something really big in this area, but I hadn't seen it. But it was leaving really big sign, and it was fresh. And I just started bow hunting, and I had an inkling it was hiding right up against the parking lot. So gun season, we went over to do a drive there, and I said, we're going to just push this little spot. And I took a step ladder, and I put it out in the cattails, and I put them on, and I said, this is where it's going to run through right here. You just sit right here. And I went over and I walked to where I thought that thing was bedded, and it jumped up and ran past him, and he shot it. And that was close to 170s. I mean, it was probably mid-160s.
Yeah, I saw a couple of your videos where you had the guys on step ladders out in the tall grass or cattails or whatever, But, yeah, I guess I would never have thought of taking a step ladder out. Seriously, I mean, that's a whole sort
We've
of
killed
cool
a
way
lot
to
of
do
deer
it.
off
Yeah.
those step ladders, yeah.
Yeah, I've actually really enjoyed a lot of those videos
glad you.
during the gun season stuff. The way you guys do the drives and take the ladders out there. I mean, it's just it's kind of a different approach than the way some. I mean, deer drives that's somewhat a pretty common thing here in Wisconsin, especially. But you guys take a very strategic approach to it. And the camaraderie that's involved in there, that's one of my favorite things about gun season.
Yeah, I'd probably actually do better. I'd kill bigger bucks if I went out on my own and just did my own thing. But I kind of like the group and the fun and the just getting together. And last few years, I've said, you know what, I think I'm going to do just opening week, and then I'm going to go do my own thing. And it never happens.
Yeah.
I started having fun with those guys, and I'm like, I'd rather just do this. If we kill one, we kill one. We don't, we don't.
Right.
But I mean, there's a good method to what we're doing. What I would do different is I'd go out real remote and sit over the top of where I can see a bedding area with a rifle. But jumping them onto them beds all day long is a fun thing too.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of action.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in your experience, hunting public, people come in. I have them come under me all the time. They'll sit under a tree and start eating lunch or something stupid. What are some of the dumb things you've seen other hunters do while you're perched up in a tree?
Dumb things?
Well, dumb or inconsiderate or however you want
He
to.
doesn't have any other hunters around.
Well, they always seem to wander past sooner or later. I mean,
Yeah, I don't run into too many hunters in the spots that I hunt because I'm usually at the furthest spot out you can hunt, even if it's next to the road. I mean, otherwise you just start swimming.
What about maybe the setups you're passing?
Yeah, I can think of one guy where we do the drives you were just talking about, where we went back to do the best drive, and I shot a 140-inch 8-pointer, which is a pretty good 8-pointer. Mm-hmm. And this guy was sitting on the hill watching the whole thing under an oak tree, and it was kind of a stupid spot because he was, right along the human trail that accesses the whole forest, 200 yards from the parking lot. And he watched us go in there and kill that buck and saw the whole thing. And I'm thinking, well, we're kind of discussing this behind the scenes. Well, he's probably going to be in here next year,
Yeah.
But we go get a sled, get the buck on a sled, and we drag it past him, and he gets up from his oak tree, walks over, and he says, well, that's a hell of a buck you got in there. He goes, it was down in that water? I says, yeah. He goes, right down in them cattails and that wet stuff? I'd never dream a deer would be down there. I said, well, it was, and dragged the deer back. He goes back to his tree, and we come back to the next year, and he's sitting in the same spot.
Well, it must have been a fluke.
And we shot a big 8-pointer again. Not quite as big as the year before, but had to drag it right past him. And he comes out and he goes, 2 damn years in a row, right down there in the water. I would never figure a deer would be down there. I never seen the guy again. He never came back.
He went out of the water and never came out.
Maybe he's underneath the cattails. I don't know.
Jeez. Yeah, like we said, different strokes for different folks. I mean, it's funny because everybody hunts a different way, and you run into guys from time to time. I've mentored a few guys over the years in that, and one of the guys that's on our team, Mike, he's been hunting now for maybe all of 10 years. He didn't grow up hunting or anything,
Yeah.
and he just we got to talking one day. He's like, yeah, I'd like to get into that. I'm like, well, do the hunter safety thing, and we'll get you on the lease and blah 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 and stuff. And so I think we talked about turkey hunting and stuff, and I said, yeah, so let's look at the areas where the turkeys are going to roost and that. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, they roost up in the tree. He's like, turkeys can fly. I was like, yeah, turkeys can fly. He had no idea turkeys could fly.
Yeah.
It's just like different things like that. Like you said there with this guy, like he would never think that deer would go into cattails and water and that, it's just, I guess, not his experience or the way he hunted. But so, well, I don't know, unless there's anything else, Chris, that you got. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could get into, and hopefully we can have Dan back on for another time where we can start delving to a couple other topics. But for time purposes here, I think we ought to wrap this one up.
I just want to say, your videos are awesome. I learned so much from them.
Oh, yeah.
I do all the time, and I can rewatch them. Mm-hmm. And it's not that, I never thought about those things, but you seem to have them always in the back of your mind when I'm going out. I don't know. I get caught up in the moment rather than thinking about it. And
Are you talking about the DVDs or the YouTube page?
Everything.
YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube, and you bring, I guess that's right. We didn't bring up the whole DVD collection, but, I watch them nonstop, and they're funny, and just watching the stuff that you do, I think.
I'm glad you like them.
Oh, God, yeah. So
put a lot of effort into it.
For those of you out there, it's, what is it, the Hunting Beast on
Hunting
YouTube.
Beast YouTube page, yeah.
And then your H Beast on, what is it, Instagram or Twitter or Facebook?
Yeah.
Which one is, what's your Facebook page?
Facebook is
H Beast, isn't it?
Hunting Beast.
Okay.
We got a Hunting Beast page, or you can just go under me because a lot of people just follow me because I post everything under me. Mm-hmm. So just follow Dan Infalt. And the Hunting Beast forum on Facebook is pretty good too. But Facebook gets a little foul. It's kind of hard to control everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
My website, www.thehuntingbeast.com. It's got to have the in the front.
Right.
That's a pretty good place. It's got a lot of old posts in there that you can find that are really good.
The
some really good
forums.
tactical, yeah. The forums, right. And we keep that really well controlled. I mean, somebody gets foul mouthed or nasty, they're just kicked off immediately.
Yeah.
We don't allow any disrespect. So it's a good place for your kids if your kids are getting into hunting or whatever, without the disrespect you get on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's I don't know, what is there, 20,000 members or something? I think I saw on there. It's quite a
There's
bit.
quite a bit, yeah.
It's quite
There's
a bit.
thousands of posts
Yeah.
in there.
Oh,
It's incredible.
I think you have over 50,000 posts in there. You've been doing it for a little while, but yeah, no, I mean, it's great what you're doing. I learn a ton of it, and I sort of want to go out deer hunting right now. Might not be legal, but
the antlers aren't going to be so big.
it don't matter. I just want to be out there.
I don't know. I glassed a pretty big one the other night.
Did ya?
Yeah. Had no tines yet, but big brow tines, and it went way wide.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it gets the blood pumping there.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. All right, I guess. Well, Dan, thank you for coming on. It's
Yeah,
been
thanks a lot.
great.
Until next time, that's our cue.
Drew
Until next
Stellis-
time, guys, always outdoors. It's like, gotta wrap this thing up.
Come on, guys. I don't want a part 4.